I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Trustee Costa? Trustee Caprio?
Present.
Trustee Rogers? Present. Trustee Sweet?
Present.
Trustee Knights-Detroit?
Present.
Trustee Berrien?
Present.
Mayor Yuka?
Present. Are there any amendments to the agenda? Okay. Motion carries that it's going through. Is there a motion to approve the minutes of May 20th, 2015 Special Village Board?
So moved.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Is there a motion to approve the minutes of October 14th, 2015 Village Board meeting?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Is there any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Okay. All right. Next, we're on reports and communications from the mayor and other officers. I will start for right now. First off, I wanted to say Happy Veterans Day. And I would ask that any current or former members of the U.S. military please stand to be recognized this evening. Well, we wanted to thank you for your service. Okay. First off, we wanted to congratulate the Homer Stallions. They won a Super Bowl victory. The Homer Stallions Maroon team won a Super Bowl over the New Lenox Junior Warriors 26-13 on November 1st at the ATI Fields in Joliet. The Homer Stallions team was one of the 22 teams competing at that level. We want to remind you to sign up for receiving my blog each week. We publish a blog that is intended to keep the residents and businesses owners up to date on current happenings and issues within our community. My goal with these blogs is to be as transparent as possible so the residents are informed of what's happening in the Homer Glen. So please subscribe and please visit. We want to thank the community for support of the Mike Hike 5K. I want to thank everyone in our community who supported the Mike Hike 5K event. This year's Mike Hike on November 7th was the 5th annual honoring PFC Michael Oliveri. We want to thank the Homer Glen Foundation for their leadership in putting on this annual event for such a worthy cause. I would also like to thank all the volunteers, runners, walkers, and supporters who helped make this year's Mike Hike a huge success. Proceeds raised through the event will commemorate our local heroes while supporting improvements to our community trails and parks. And with that, we'll switch over to the trustees, and we'll start down with Trustee Netsky.
I do not have anything to report.
Well, welcome back.
Thank you.
Trustee Berrien.
Just one item, Mr. Mayor. In honor of Veterans Day and the men and women who have given so much to our country and our community, we would like to offer a small token of appreciation by offering a free 3-foot by 5-foot American flag to any veteran that's a resident of Homer Glen. I've run this program in my own neighborhood for the last couple of years, and it's provided an opportunity to offer personal thanks for their service. In addition to the free 3x5 flag, we would be happy to collect any old faded flags and ensure that they are properly retired. Again, this would be for residents of Homer Glen who are veterans of the armed forces. The flags will be donated and no taxpayer dollars will be used for this program. Free flags can be picked up beginning tomorrow here at Village Hall. Any questions, please ask. Thank you. That's all I have.
Thank you, Trustee Berrien. Trustee Rogers?
I have nothing.
Trustee Suisse?
Thank you, Mayor. I have three brief reports. Reporting for the Environment Committee, the October stargazing event was canceled due to cloudy conditions. We are now working on dates for next year, and we will advise you shortly. We have received several requests for an electronics recycling event, so the Environment Committee is recommending that the village hold an event like that sometime in 2016. As a reminder, a meeting for the Earth Day Arbor Day Subcommittee is being held next Wednesday at 6:30. Mark your calendars for our 2016 Earth Day Arbor Day event, which will take place on May 21. Reporting for the Homer Harvest Day Committee, at our last meeting, we recapped the 2015 September event, which included discussing setups, tents, music, vendors, demonstrators, and the entertainment. Sponsor and volunteer thank yous are being addressed, and information for 2016 is being updated on our website and on the applications. Reporting as Vice Chair for Parks and Rec Committee, topics that were discussed at the last Parks Committee meeting were the maintenance burdens at Erin Hills Park and the Dragonfly Restoration Area, which will occur now in spring. Park maintenance issues were discussed at Erin Hills Park and Stone Ridge also. Discussed was the west extension of the Heroes Trail system, which will go from Heatherwood Drive to an undetermined location at this time. And staff member Sean Keene researched nearby communities for park donation programs with the committee, then the committee will discuss these ideas. The next Parks meeting is on November 23rd. That concludes my report.
Thank you, Trustee Suisse. Trustee Caprio?
Nothing new to report, Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, next is public comment. If you could please, oh wait, that's right. Treasurer?
No report this evening, Mayor.
Village Clerk?
I actually do. Next week, the business owners in Homer Glen will receive the 2016 business registration forms. This includes any home-based businesses. The fee is $30 and is due by January 31st. After that date, existing businesses will have to pay the $60 late registration fee. If anyone has any questions, they can contact me at the village.
Thank you. Village Attorney?
Nothing, Your Honor.
Public safety officials? And Village Manager?
I do have a report. Back in September, as the board knows, our servers were infected with CryptoLocker ransomware Trojan, and we had to contact our IT support provider, Andromeda. Back in October, at your first meeting, you approved a bill for $4,165 since they were out working night and day to fix our servers, repair our software, and get us up and running again. I'm pleased to announce that we received a check from our insurance company in the amount of $3,665. So it's a difference of $500, which is our deductible. So.
Every recall, that's what we pay them for.
Yeah.
Okay, now we're going to go to public comment. Thank you. Okay, if you could keep this to 3 minutes, we would appreciate it. Glen McGarry's first.
My name is Lynn McGarry. I'm here for the Homer Township Chamber of Commerce, and we want to remind you and extend a personal invitation to our annual holiday dinner and installation of officers next Thursday, the 19th at Ruffled Feathers. Cocktails at 5:30, dinner at 6:30. This is always a fun evening, and we'd love to have you join us. And please remember, the invitation is to the mayor, who's going to install our officers, the trustees, and all our wonderful staff here in Homer Glen. So we love you all to come. Thank you.
Thank you, Lynn. Bob Schmidt.
Yes, ma'am. I may have to take a few more minutes than 3, as I normally do, so please accept my apologies. First of all, for the record, I wish to thank everyone, men and women, who have served our country faithfully in the military service. Their sacrifices have meant a great deal to all of us. our freedom and our security is because of the women and the men. And for that, I want to thank them publicly. Now, get down to the dirty business. Well, it's not dirty, but it's business. I have some questions. I want to jump to, if I may, about on the old business, item I. My questions are very simple. How many participants are in the program, boys and girls? Question. Do the teams pay anything to the village? That's for maintenance, upkeep of the field, etc. Do the parents pay anything for them to play in their part, our part? I want you to remember that there are a lot of seniors that live in Homer Glen that cannot avail themselves of those services. The real accomplishment, I believe, would have been to maintain the 9-hole course, offer that to not only seniors, but for everyone in our local community. And I'm sorry, Mayor, it would have been profitable. There's no question about it. Board of Trustees, I don't think you did the job for the residents. All right. Now, let me see what else we have. My comment was, why didn't we run it for a year or 2 years till we knew exactly what we were going to do? Remember, ladies and gentlemen, it is prime real estate. That money could have come into the Homer Glen coffer to be used for whatever we needed. As a resident of Homer Township and Homer Glen for 47 years, I have a problem paying any more in my taxes, whether it's real estate or especially fuel tax. I may be retired, but damn it, I still drive my truck every day. The only thing that I can do to say to you, I love Homer Glen, but I won't buy that there if you pass that amendment. Thank you.
Thanks, Bob. Judy Orban?
Hello, I just wanted to also talk about the proposed gas tax. I guess the way that I'm thinking about the investments that could come from a tax like that is going toward things that strengthen our community by creating places that bring us together and provide opportunities that we don't have today in this village. It's not just about swing sets and sandboxes for young kids. Could be a series of summer concerts at a band shell, sheltered settings that can be used for family or other events, ways for families to all enjoy the outdoors in a beautiful setting, a center that could be used for seniors as a gathering place or for other groups, trails leading throughout the village. I think there are a lot of people who would enjoy seeing us be able to come together more as a community. Woodbine has a lot of potential. If we had our wishes, what would we see this community become in addition to its rural character? We have a lot of pressing issues, 159th Street development, the price of water, state taking money from our schools, trying to move into the new facilities at Woodbine. It doesn't mean that it's not important to invest in our community and our places in our community. And that's my belief and my desire that we should do that.
Thank you. Jerry Young.
Good evening. My name is Jerry Young. I've been a Homer Glen resident since 2003. I'm also an active member on the Parks and Rec Committee. This is my first year. I also want to talk about the proposed gas tax. I'm in favor of the gas tax. I think this is an excellent way to fund an opportunity to grow the Parks and Rec funding source. When I came onto the committee, that was one of my first questions. I think the impact to the community as a whole is minimal. I mean, from my understanding, 70% of that revenue is coming from outside residents. And as I figured it, my impact on it would be $1.26 per week. I fill up maybe 3 times a week, 14 gallons, 3 cents. It'd be $65 a year. I think that's worth it.
Really?
So I do. I really do. I think we need to
You have a pension, sir.
Bob, I appreciate you, okay? I appreciate you. I think we need to invest in our community, and this is an excellent way to do it. I think we do need those things. I think we do need some for our seniors, okay? I think we do need some for our kids, some that come together as a community, like Judy said. So I think this gives us an excellent opportunity to do that. Yes, when you make an investment, it costs money. We're talking 3 cents, okay? Look at Cook County, look at the city of Chicago. I mean, come on, they're looking at a $500 increase in their property taxes. The state funding is not there to help. So we need to find ways to invest in our community, and I think the board, this idea is an excellent way to do that, and I wanted to let you know I'm 100% behind it, and I look forward to seeing what happens, okay? Thank you.
Thank you, Jerry. Dan Kenny.
Hi, Dan Kenny, Homer Glen resident. I'm going to echo the last 2 speakers up here. Pretty much everything they said. I'm here 100% in support of the gas tax as well. I think it's a very logical, reasonable way that does have a minimal impact on the residents. In fact, once 159th is completed and all the gas stations sprout up, the traffic increase coming through here, it's going to be an unlimited funding potential for that. We asked for funding for the parks, and we asked for it not to touch our property taxes. This tax does that. Bob also said some good things as well, that it is a prime piece of real estate sitting smack dab in the middle of our village, and we own it. Now, what are we going to do with it? We could do something extraordinary, but we need funding to do that. And once we do something extraordinary, it's going to become something that's going to become emblematic of the village. I was at the meeting last week with the planner talking about, how communities need a village square. Well, I don't know if we can plop a village square in the middle of this park, but we could do something that's a gathering place, something that's really unique and distinctive and awesome. The last point I'll make is that Bob made another point. If you raise this tax, he'll buy his gas elsewhere, and that's the great thing. If you don't like this tax, you don't have to pay it. It's not being thrust upon you.
Right.
You can go buy your gas elsewhere, and there's going to be tons of people coming through buying gas here. So, thank you. I think it's a great idea.
Good. Good.
Okay, that's it for public comment. Next is going to be legislation and action items. And Bob, we will talk about it when we come to 5, and I'll explain everything to you, so we're not doing it twice. You're welcome, Bob. All right, is there a motion to approve ordinance number 15-043, an ordinance establishing a salary range system for the full-time staff members of the Village of Homer Glen and the attached job descriptions, and before I go in for motion, I just want everyone to understand, we have a very, very small group of staff that runs this village. I do know how hard they work, how long they work, and when you compare what we're paying to any village that surrounds us, we're much lower. They like working here, we like them working here, and we want to be fair with them. So all this is just approving a range, and then from there it goes on a one-to-one basis for everyone that works here to see what we're going to do with them. So it doesn't mean we're giving the money away. We're just getting establishing a pay scale of where we can be. With that being said, I need a motion.
I'll make a motion, Mayor.
I need a second.
Second.
Is there any discussion?
Yes, I have some questions. The positions that are listed in section 2, now these are not automatic positions. These are
No,
for the future so that we
Right.
wouldn't have to come back to do an amendment to this
Correct.
ordinance. So it's just put there for future things to look at.
all that this does is establish a range system and, you know, positions that are potential positions, and what market data has shown is being offered for a range minimum and a range maximum. That's it.
Okay, and then section 3, I'm not understanding that because it's, when I see automatically adjusted annually, when I see those 3 words, it's like, wait a second, can you explain that?
Yeah, absolutely. So, as the board knows, we have a two-prong system for staff when it comes to raises. We do a COLA, and we also do a merit raise. The COLA, for example, this last year it was 1.2%. So what this would do is, if in next year the COLA was 1.2% again, it would take your base minimum and your range maximum, and it would times it by 1.2% to adjust that range so that it's continually pretty much in line with market data.
Okay, and so, okay, say if somebody is in a range that is right now below the minimum, is that automatically adjusted? Is that coming to the board for discussion? What happens there?
This ordinance does not do anything with that.
Okay.
Okay, this is just establishing a system.
Okay, that's what I want to know. We're just setting
Right.
policy so
Just
that we know
policy, that's all.
where we stand. Okay.
Any other questions?
I do. When you say to adjust the salary minimum or maximum by the COLA raise, that would be, or the COLA increase, so that would be if someone was at the maximum range, you'd add the 1.2% to that. So their maximum range could essentially change going forward.
Yes, it could.
Okay. So the range is always there. It can be increased, but the same incremental value will be there.
Yes, it will be applied to each of those positions.
Oh, I have one more question. In section 4,
Okay.
where it says the annual merit compensation, how is that done? Is that going to be separately so that it doesn't affect the maximum range if that person's at maximum? Is that going to be like okay, you get a separate check? Is that a separate?
Okay, so what you're referring to is basically a one-time merit bonus. So, for example, if you have a staff member who has reached the maximum, and you know they're still eligible for a merit bonus,
Right.
And for example, let's say it's a $500 bonus. That $500 bonus would not be added to the range maximum. It would just be a flat $500 bonus for that year.
Okay.
You're not guaranteed that next year, and it doesn't add on to the range maximum.
Okay, that's
all
to
that
clarify.
is.
Okay.
Have we had a job applicant not accept an offer because we didn't have a salary range?
No, but it is extremely rare to not have salary ranges established in government.
In municipal government?
Yes, municipal government.
Okay. And the reason I ask is, I've worked in various capacities in government for the last better part of 20 years, and have held multiple different positions, and I've never, and currently, we don't have salary ranges within our organization. So I just want to make sure we're talking municipal government.
Yes, we
And
are.
I know it's fairly common. In addition, I know we've talked about Lockport not having one.
Yes.
Are there any other surrounding municipalities?
No, and I did call our surrounding municipalities, and Lockport was the only one that did not have them established.
Okay.
I know Woodridge is working on one as well, to establish a range.
Well, they currently have ranges.
I think they're changing it up.
Okay.
Any other questions?
I am, I'm sorry.
Sure.
Who came up with these ranges?
I did extensive research, looking at what not only surrounding municipalities are offering. I took a look at what our position descriptions were, and we are unique. You're not going to find somebody who is doing the three hats that one person here will do. It's very unique. So it's difficult to compare apples to apples. What I did do was I looked at position descriptions that were comparable, for the most part, at least 60 to 70% comparable. And you know, if that met my base, then I would add that to a list of salary range minimums and maximums. I pulled out outliers, any ones that were too high or too low. And then pretty much I came up with at least 8 full, minimum and maximum ranges for the positions, for each of the positions.
Without Trustee Casas being here, he, you know, I think he has some questions or concerns that maybe haven't been addressed, and I'm just wondering if maybe we could put this to a later date when he's available.
Well, I did talk to Trustee Costa today, and he says, as long as all it is right now is just agreeing that we will have some sort of a range system, he's fine with it, but he does not want any, because we've done this, he doesn't want us to go ahead and just start giving raises out. He said that's something we'll discuss. So, that's up to you as a board. What do you want to do?
I guess my question would be, how do we implement this without then bringing various positions up to the minimum?
Yeah, because if you have somebody new that you're hiring and they're above, their minimum is above someone who's already been here for years, how do you not raise them but start somebody at a higher salary?
That was something that has been discussed, and I need to have further discussions regarding that. But the hope is that we would be bringing people up to the range minimum if they're below the minimum currently.
Do you know how many employees are below the minimum?
Currently, there are 5.
I personally, obviously I haven't been here for a couple of meetings. I've been taking care of a screaming baby and haven't had the time to really go in. I saw all the job descriptions in here. I just haven't read through them thoroughly. So I personally would abstain from this vote. So if we can wait until I can, I mean, it's up to you guys. But.
Rest of the board, it's up to you what you want to do. If you want to put it on hold, if you want to agree to it, if you want to put an agreement on it with
Mayor, I don't, you know, if we wait until if Mike, Trustee Costa will be back at the next meeting, gives everybody, more time, this could be implemented or voted on at the next meeting. I don't think that would cause a problem.
Right, if it's just policy and there's no action that's being made, it's not like they're looking for us to do this so that we can bring these 5 people up. If that's my understanding, then it's a policy. I don't have a reason putting it. I don't have a reason putting it off either. I don't have a problem.
Like I said, it is up to you whether you want to follow through this. follow through with it. You want to wait till the next meeting. You want to wait till Trustee Kaminsky gets a chance, honestly, to read it and figure out what some of it is and answer questions. And if you're more comfortable with Trustee Costa here too, then that's what you should do.
Mr. Mayor, can you ask the board members to use the microphone?
Sure.
Some of us can.
Can you hear me now?
Well, coming over a little bit, honey. I mean,
Should I start singing? Can you hear me now?
little closer.
I can't.
Everybody.
You know, in my mind,
Cords only go this far.
we've had this on the agenda a couple times. Yeah. To me, it's establishing a guideline. I don't see a problem with the guideline. I understand Trustee Knightsky hasn't had time to read through everything that we've had because there's been a lot of it. The 5 people that are, up for this recommended range are mostly nominal. We could sit on it again. I just feel it's something that if it's setting policy, it's setting a guideline, there's extensive research that's gone into it. I would vote to, vote on it today, but I'm one of 6.
But here's my question number 2 is say, if we raise those 5 people, then what about those people that are already over that mark? They're gonna say, I've been here 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, and I'm at what they're at. Can I get higher now? You know what I'm saying? Like,
Well, I think that's why they
when does it
established
stop?
the ranges. But
That's for the purpose of the ranges.
It's just to make sure everyone that's working in that position is at the same level everybody else is at that point. No one's sky high, no one's...
Regardless if someone's been here 3 years or 1 year?
Well, they still get the merit raises and the COLA raises, and that is on a yearly basis. And it's been very low for the last, I know the last one was 1.2. And the new one will be, what they're saying right now is going to be 1.2 again. Sorry.
That was just an example, 1.2 is an example.
So I agree with what Trustee Caprio was saying. It has been up before, and I mean, you can put some considerations on this to, to wait. I mean, if there's a change that's going to come forward, there's a change that's going to come forward, depending on what Trustee Knightsky wants to do and Trustee Costa.
Mayor,
Well, you're saying that Trustee Costa is fine with that, right?
Well, he is fine with what is in here right now, but pretty much what Christina just got done saying, that doesn't want, we've passed this now, it's not going to happen tomorrow, we're going to up. So we have to discuss it after we get something approved, because there's no sense in talking about it until it is approved.
can we make a conditional approval, at least, that we allow Trustee Knightsky to become up to speed with it, because I do care about your vote as well. I want to make sure that you're fully understanding what's going on.
Yeah, we can do that, and this way it gives her time to be able to talk to Heather and find out whatever you do, and if there's more information you need, that would be supplied to you.
Yeah, I'd be happy to work with you on it. It's no problem.
Mayor, I would say this, my opinion on this is, out of respect for Trustee Costa, who obviously has some pretty firm opinions on this, I don't know how we approve the ranges without then implementing the second portion of that, right, of bringing everybody in, whether it's 2 days or 2 weeks, and I think that's the part that it may be a better discussion for when Trustee Costa is here. Unless I'm incorrect on that, right? One triggers the other.
Well, it doesn't trigger it until it comes before the board again. That would be done in executive session when it comes to pay raises or paying anyone.
And at that point, if that vote was no,
If that vote,
we have employees under our stated minimum, right? So then what's the point of salary ranges at that point? That makes sense?
well, if it's where you do not want to have a range, then no, it wouldn't make any sense to vote it in. But if there's a range, at least there's a basis to work on. Because it's a range doesn't mean it's written in stone, that's what it's going to be.
But that's what we're telling people. That's what we're telling potential future employees, that this is the range. If you come work here, here's your minimum, and here's your ceiling, potentially, with bonuses on top of that, potentially.
Correct. But Now, when you look at the ranges, though, the ranges, from what I looked at, you know, I'm in the private sector, so I'm not in government. They all fall within the same parameter as the public sector. The only time it gets a little bit more expensive is the higher you go. You know, for a village manager or assistant village manager, developments.
Sure.
You know, I don't know. It's up to you. If you guys are not comfortable with it, don't. If you are comfortable with the conditions put on it.
Yeah, so I'm not saying, I mean, I think it's, personally, I think it's something that I'd like Trustee Costa to be here to participate in, because your conversation with him today says to me that he's not supportive of this.
Well, he's supportive of it, but he doesn't want us to be able, he doesn't not want this to be approved, and then we go back in the office tonight and we give everyone a raise. That's what he's not in favor of.
Yeah, I understand that part, but I'm saying once you put in salary minimums, that is, unless I'm wrong on this, that is inferred with this. I know there's an official action that we have to take at some point, but I also don't know how we don't rate. And again, this is not for me, please, certainly for the staff too, don't read anything more into this than just process of this. As everyone knows, I'm a huge fan of the staff here, and I do think, as I've stated many times, taxpayers are getting fantastic bang for the buck with the staff we have, certainly compared to surrounding municipalities. So I certainly don't want anything more read into this than I just know from my own discussions with Trustee Costa, he has some concerns on this. I know he got caught at work today. I just think if it's, to Trustee Rogers' point, if there's nothing that's going to be voted on tonight salary-wise, and there's not going to be any action between now and the next meeting, I guess I just would be, personally, again, there's 5 of us and 6 of us here, but maybe more comfortable waiting for Trustee Costa, since nothing is going to take effect between now and then.
Okay, and I'm saying, whatever you guys decide, I'm fine with. I'm not gonna try to sway anyone either way.
Sure.
Because I do understand questions on both sides. So the easiest way to do it is, Madam Clerk, take the roll and...
No, I move to table this then until the next meeting for Trustee Costa to be present.
Oh, second.
Maybe that's the easiest way to do it. And then
Okay.
Trustee Darian will feel a little more.
All right, well, we still have to take a roll call on it.
Correct.
So,
I don't know.
motion.
Trustee Caprio?
Aye.
We're making a motion. Right, we still have to make a roll.
Yes, take it.
Trustee Rogers?
Till the next meeting.
Trustee Sweet?
Aye.
Trustee Berrien?
Aye.
Trustee Trichy?
Aye.
Okay.
Knightsky Tree.
Okay. That, all right, so right now it'll be brought back when Trustee Costa is in attendance.
And Trustee Knightsky's up to speed.
Well, we already know that she wants to get into it, so we'll, I'm sure she's going to do this. Okay. Yeah, between meetings.
Yeah, right. And maps.
Okay, second is to consider an approval for ordinance number 15-045, an ordinance establishing a 120-day temporary moratorium on the establishment and operation of smoke shops and smoking lounges in the village of Homer Glen.
I so move.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Is there any discussion? Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Ken,
No, I asked if there's any discussion. No one had it. Do you want to, is there anyone?
maybe if Director Schwartz could just give a little background on this topic for us.
Yeah, as mentioned, I don't know if this is working or not. Can you guys all hear me in the audience? I'll just
I don't
talk.
think that works.
I don't think any of them are
Okay,
working.
maybe, is it turned on?
They are. I don't know why it's not.
I'll just talk loud. The moratorium is basically just a pause for it gives the staff the ability to do some research. And obviously, if we do come back with any options for the village board, we would need that time half of that time is actually going through the plan commission process and getting back to the board. So it really is only about 8 weeks as opposed to 120 days. But the reason for it, it comes from, we've gotten several proposals recently. One is for a proposed hookah bar, and one is for a separate location for a proposed retail shop that would focus on the electronic cigarette devices, or vaping, as it's known because of the vapors that they emit. The state doesn't, to my knowledge, regulate electronic cigarettes as they do under the Smoke-Free Illinois Act, where, you know, with a tobacco hookah bar has to be in a freestanding building and so forth. So this gives us time not only to look at our zoning ordinance, but look at surrounding communities as we do best practices, but also gives us an opportunity to maybe look at expanding the scope, if the board is inclined, to expand the scope of the other ordinances related to tobacco, and that being the tobacco licensing ordinance for all retailers of tobacco products and alternative tobacco products, but also the tobacco possession ordinance. Just on preliminary research, what I'm finding is that most communities in our immediate area haven't yet addressed tobacco as a land use issue, as we do liquor stores where we require a special use permit. What I'm finding is that Lockport, for example, has one vaping shop in their downtown, and they, right after that one came in, they changed their zoning ordinance to allow vaping shops anywhere else but the downtown. So in the commercial areas outside the downtown, you can do that. But other communities haven't yet addressed this. I heard today from Burr Ridge, for example, does not regulate it. And Riverside, my understanding is that Riverside recently did not so much change their zoning ordinance, but they looked at expanding the scope of their licensing ordinance to also take into account these alternative or electronic devices. So that's kind of in a nutshell why we're looking at this. And this, again, just gives us time out to do some research.
We also want to know, it gives us time to get together with the state to find out how they feel about it. Because I've seen a lot of people with the vapor, but I haven't seen them smoking inside them. The ones that I have, they're put outside. So if it's a store just selling it and they're not using it, but when we saw the pictures of what they're going to build, it's pretty much you go in there and you sample all these. And to me, no matter how you look at it, a vapor cigarette is still heated up. It's heated, turned to vapor, that's what you're breathing in, and when you breathe it out, there's still people that are sucking that right back in. So I myself felt that if we allowed this, it could put us in a jam. It's still secondhand smoke. No matter how you handle it, it's still secondhand. You're pushing something out of you that someone else is breathing in. So it gives us a little bit of time to try to find out, because I'm sure the state right now doesn't know what to do, and I don't think this village should take it, we should take this very seriously. So with the moratorium, it gives us enough time to be able to investigate what our cans and cannot do.
I think a timeout to investigate is prudent.
So is there any other discussion on it? Okay. Madam Clerk, would you call the roll?
Trustee Nevsky-Trojki?
Aye.
Trustee Varian?
Aye.
Trustee Suisse?
Aye.
Trustee Rogers? Aye. Trustee Caprio?
Aye.
Motion carries. Next, is there a motion to consider for approval ordinance number 15-046, an ordinance amending ordinance number 04-74, regulating solicitation in the village of Homer Glen? And before, again, we have this, just so the residents and everyone here understands, the way the solicitation ordinance was before is it pretty much lets anyone come in here and go door to door. They do have to give you some information, but they don't have to, it doesn't have to be not-for-profit, it still could be for profit. The hours weren't really regulated. It wasn't written up to where if you said you didn't want it and they wouldn't leave your house, now they have to leave your house. If there was a no solicitation sign on the door, they cannot go to your door. They cannot knock on it. They can't go to the opposite door and knock on it. All it is just the solicitation. When you've got some strangers coming in and they're knocking at your door, I just don't feel it's safe for the residents here to have to put up with it. So we're making it a lot more stringent, so now they have hours they have to keep, like I said, with the signage on the doors, you can't do anything. And I know the village is working towards getting the stickers, so we'll supply the stickers to you. So now I'll take a motion in a second, and then you guys can discuss it.
So moved.
Second?
I second.
Discussion.
I have, oh, okay, go ahead.
Under section 8, I was wondering if we could add language relative to, it says penalty for any person guilty of committing a violation of this ordinance shall be subject to a fine of not less than 100, no more than 500. If we could add in a revoking of the permit.
I believe that language is already in the body of the ordinance.
I'm pretty sure it is too, Bill.
In section 8.
Under section 7.
Section
Right.
7 is just the Better Business Bureau portion.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, the actual ordinance
Oh, I'm
itself.
sorry.
Section 7, a violation of any section of the ordinance would either deny or revoke that permit.
Okay.
Any other questions?
I have a question on page 2, the section 7, where it says solicitation permits may be denied if the applicant fails to have a letter grade rating of B or higher with the Better Business Bureau. What recourse do we have, or what else can we do if they do not sign up, if they're not part of the Better Business Bureau?
I think we would review the application closely. A lot of businesses aren't currently registered, new business aren't registered with the Better Business Bureau, and I guess we would take that on a case-by-case basis with their application.
Do you actually look at all of them, though, to ensure that they're not on the BBB?
We would look at every application, correct.
No, I just have a clarification question, and I'm sure I know the answer, but section number 4, section 5 of the highlighted commentary, commercial solicitation applicant shall provide a certificate of liability, workman's comp insurance, naming the village as a certificate holder. Is that the same as additional insured?
Correct.
Okay, just want to make sure.
And just one other question. The mayor just said about the signage, the no solicitation on your door. Is that addressed here in the ordinance?
Correct.
Oh, it's still in there, okay, because I couldn't find it up.
Where are we with those stickers? Have we
We're
ordered
still
some?
researching and getting prices for those.
And those will be free to the residents?
Yes.
That's up to the,
Well, it's up to the board, but I would definitely like it to be free to the residents. We're here to protect them.
Mayor, one question.
Sure.
So I'm not proposing this, but and maybe this is a question for the attorney. Can we legally limit solicitors to businesses that are registered in Homer Glen?
What do you mean?
So-
Oh, I see. Eliminate businesses that are not registered.
Yeah.
No.
With the no solicitation stickers, do we want to try and set a limitation per household on those?
Well, they get,
Yeah, the reason why I asked, I mean, anybody can come in, a Homer Glen resident, ask for 50 stickers and give them to their neighbors in Orland Park.
no, they're gonna get one sticker because
I just
if
wanna
they have
make
a sticker on the house, they can't go anywhere.
Well, if they have 2 doors, though, 2 entry doors to
They're
a
still
home.
not, 9 times out of 10, they go to your front door. If they do go to your back door, I wouldn't even answer. If it's the front door, my kids' friends come to the back door.
Well, I think we also talked about putting some Homer Glen branding on it. So.
Okay, good.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Mayor, I would just say, I live in an area where we are solicited pretty regularly. It's a regular occurrence at my front door. I'm right off 143rd. I'm on a cul-de-sac. I'm an easy block, first block in, fairly easy, walkable neighborhood. And I think that this was sorely needed, and I think this is a great improvement. So good work to the staff on this. And I think this is a drastic improvement.
I agree. I agree. What brought some of this stuff on is we had a group come in last summer, towards the end of the year, and they just wouldn't leave. They knocked on the doors and they harassed the residents, and then I went out in front, started screaming and swearing at them because they weren't buying anything. That shouldn't be tolerated for anybody. If you don't want to buy it, you don't want to buy it. If you don't want them at your door, that's why we want you to put the no solicitors button up there, because as soon as they do it, just call the village or call the police and they will remove them right away. I don't want, this whole board doesn't want anyone hassle with their own home. So, with that being said, is any other questions or?
Yeah, I guess maybe I do have one question that would need clarification. So the Saturday and Sunday limitations where it's 9 to 5 Monday through Friday, no Saturdays, Sundays, no holidays. For I guess for door-to-door knocking for non-commercial. So for instance, I knock my neighborhood pretty regularly just as an official or just on behalf of a candidate at times. I don't register to solicit. Would I have to do that under this ordinance?
No, because it falls under political.
Okay.
If you're running for an office, you aren't trying to sell them anything except you. But they're not actually buying you,
Yeah.
they're just going to vote for you.
Yeah, yeah. And even if it's not me is what I'm saying.
Correct.
Right? So that's still, because the only reason I bring that up is the Saturday and Sundays is obviously when people are home. So from that side of it, I just want to make sure that we don't pass something that prohibits that. The magazine sales, everything that we typically deal with, all for it.
And that,
I think we discussed at the AMF committee that typically a political candidate isn't really soliciting, but they're providing information to residents.
Yep. And
I think if they were asked to leave, they would. So.
yeah, I think it was there too. Trust me. Okay. Are there any other questions? Mr. Menschke, you got anything?
No, I mean, just a simple question. Say if it's like a sports group or like a business that's just passing out flyers to doors or coupons like that. It's something totally
Most of the
different.
time
It's
when
not
we're-
actually knocking, it's,
Right, most of the time, they usually place it somewhere on the door or something.
yeah.
So that, you're not soliciting, you're just handing out information. Soliciting is when they knock on your door, you come out and you tell them you're not interested, and they keep going, well, yeah, you gotta buy something. You know, I got a deal.
But I don't mean, that's a great point, but that is solicitation. That's not commercial solicitation. You're giving them, even if you're not asking for money, you're saying, I'd like you to attend this event, and here you go.
But they're not knocking on the door.
Well, they're just
They're
posting
just
it.
going there and putting the information on the door. That's not solicitation, that's just handing out information.
Yeah, I guess, but what if they did, right?
If they knock on the
So what
door,
if you wanted to knock door about an upcoming, I'm not a political candidate, but an upcoming neighborhood event?
I would think that if that was the case, it's gonna be the neighbors. And if anyone has a problem with someone knocking on their door, it goes the same way. If it says no solicitors, then you don't solicit. You know, it's kind of self-explanatory.
No, I get that.
I'm sorry. What I'm saying is, yeah, if they have a sticker on their door that says no soliciting, you're not gonna knock on the door, you're gonna turn around and walk away. But say if I was promoting the chamber event, and it doesn't say no soliciting, and I just stuck a flyer on there on Saturday morning, is that against the ordinance, or?
It is, if you take a look at the ordinance, I mean, this is the
Soliciting
slippery
is
slope.
considered sticking
Because
something in the door.
non-commercial
too, it's not-
solicitation, correct, non-commercial solicitation is defined here. Shall mean the request by a person, directly or indirectly, of money, credit, financial assistance, goes through a whole bunch of things. And that's also to request, is the public making of any announcement concerning assemblage, athletics, sporting event, bazaar, benefit, campaign, those are,
Campaigning.
that
too.
is non-commercial
So if I'm
solicitation.
running for election in 4 years, I can't go to someone's door on Saturday or Sunday.
Well, there's the question, because politically, yes, you typically, that's exempt. But the change in these hours has really made of it. Originally, we had proposed 9 to 9 any day. And I know that might be too broad, but I know that the concern is we want to eliminate some of this, we want to make the hours more reasonable. But you run the risk of that kind of situation where somebody's going to claim, well, you're soliciting on Saturdays. Whether it's giving, and a good example is that giving, hey, there's the Chamber of Commerce event, and putting it on the door. You're not directly, it's indirectly soliciting. Trick-or-treaters, that is considered solicitation. So I mean, that's
So if Halloween fell on a Saturday like it did, and my kids want to go trick-or-treating, that's against this ordinance.
You would have to, I think every year you guys announce what these are the trick-or-treat hours, correct? Yeah. You would have to ask, but you would have to do that, but technically it is, could be a violation.
The reason that the hours were changed is, look what it is outside right now. Do you want strangers knocking on the doors when it's pitch black outside and you can't even see who's out there?
No, I agree 100%. I'm just thinking, you know, on Saturdays and Sundays, a lot of people that are running for campaigns or people that are doing a non-for-profit event or the chamber, they might want to knock on someone's, not even knocking, if they just want to stick a flyer in someone's door, that's against the ordinance.
Well, why would the chamber be against the ordinance if it's a village's associated with the village for who lives here? They're not going into other neighborhoods, they're going into the neighborhoods where they live. So why would that?
Well, that's what, if there's an exception, if you look under section 6, you look at the exception. So it's non-commercial solicitation on behalf of a charitable organization that's currently registered with the Attorney General and is in full compliance. So the concern is I'm assuming the Chamber of Commerce, but I don't know. I mean, you may have organizations that generally have a charitable purpose or a situation like that, but if they're not registered with the Attorney General, they wouldn't fall within the exception. And I don't know, I'm assuming the Chamber of Commerce is, correct?
I was just using that as an example.
Yeah, but that's a great example. I mean, that's one where the Chamber may or may not be. Generally, I think you're covered. I just want to make sure that, I mean, the hour limitation really...
I just know I help a lot of non-for-profit organizations, and I know
Saturdays and Sundays
are the only days that kids have off of school, and they pass out their flyers for, you know, help little Susie next door, she's sick and needs, you know, fundraiser. If they go out on Saturday and Sunday, is that against our ordinance?
Yeah, I guess a good example too would be on Saturday if the kids are selling candy bars for their football team. I don't know if the Homer Stallions is a not-for-profit. Probably is. Okay. But a situation like that, where it could be the school, it could be the band, and if they're doing this on a Saturday, that could be a problem.
Would it be a policy decision on how this ordinance was to be enforced? If, I mean...
That would be a problem. That would be a major problem, because now you're enforcing it against some and not others, based upon the speech.
So Eric, can I give you just a potential scenario? I'm not a candidate, but I want to go walk my neighborhood with a survey as an office holder, maybe, right? Can I do that on Saturday under this ordinance?
Take a look here. Unfortunately, it's a definite maybe, because you're taking a survey, but you're not asking for anything in return. You're not asking for any financial assistance or anything of that nature. So you may be able to do that.
Okay, well, then that would go the same thing for the chamber. They're not trying to sell you anything. They are informing you of what's going on. See, this is what I don't understand. The government says they're out to protect you, but they will allow someone to come up to someone's door in the middle of the night. I just take the girl that I'm pretty sure was in Willowbrook, where some guy was standing out in front of her house, and she asked him to leave, and she went back in the house, and he broke in right after and beat the hell out of her. You know, people watch houses, and this is how you protect them. So in other words, with the way you explain this to me, we can't control what happens to them. So if some jamoke just comes by and decides that he wants to start knocking on doors, he can do it because we can't stop him.
That's not at all what I said.
Let's just say if someone came in and got a permit. The last group that came in for the permits, there wasn't one of them that had a license. They didn't live in Illinois at all. And all right, we're not looking to discriminate against anybody for this, but they also, when you looked them up to find out where they didn't live with the license, but where the driver's licenses that you're giving them. So they're floaters. And we're in a community where we are. We're trying to make sure that they're watched out for. You know,
You can deny them.
You can, but it doesn't necessarily mean, if that's the case, then it would be real simple. You just deny almost everybody.
No, I think what you're talking about, and I apologize, I don't mean to get in this engagement here. You're talking about commercial solicitation, going through that process and finding that this is somebody that's either not qualified or isn't, they don't have the sufficient qualifications, and you can deny that.
Okay. Now, as for the Girl Scouts, the Boy Scouts, the baseball teams, the football teams, the soccer teams, again, yes, they are trying to sell you something because that's how they get their money to be able to do what they're doing. But they're also a not-for-profit. And it's, for the most part, when some of the kids come to your house, you know who they are. They live in your neighborhood. So, and it's not trying to be selective to who can and who can't. But I feel that as being the people that are running this village to protect them, we should have the right to be able to say, no, you can't do it. You know, if you made it towards strictly commercial, well, then we don't have a problem. They can, the kids aren't selling it for commercial, they're selling it for the Girl Scouts or the Boy Scouts, whatever the case may be. The sports groups, they're not selling it to make money for anybody but that group of non-for-profit kids that are playing for baseball, basketball, again, any sport. So they make this so complicated and they make this so hard to try to do the right thing. And that to me is asinine. It's ridiculous on how, you know, this government needs to change. This government needs to back out of some everybody's business and let somebody run it, you know, put it out to the people. Do you want solicitors? Do you want them knocking at your door at 8:30 at night?
No.
So why can't we do this to protect them? I think that there's got to be a way around it to where, you know, if we stick it strictly to, you know, a non-for-profit company, and they have every single solitary thing that we're looking for. You know, we were already told you have to take an out-of-state license. I think some of the things that bother me is they bring vans in here. 20 people jump out of the van, and they start going door to door. They're all over the village. Nobody knows who they are, what they're selling. They leave them here, and hours later, 8 hours, 10 hours later, they come and pick these people up. I don't think that that's good for this village. And I'm hoping the board feels the same way because, you know, half this board is women. I would be very uncomfortable with my wife and my 3 kids being home by themselves and having some stranger that knocks on your door and doesn't want to leave when you're telling them to leave. So, you know, we need to look into this to where we can be ironclad with what we're doing. You know, I don't want to get the village in trouble, you know, nor does this board. But I definitely want to protect everyone that lives here.
Can I say something?
Sure.
As most people know, my house was robbed during the day at 2 o'clock. You know, I came home when they were in my house. So even solicitors, and it was people soliciting to clean the house. So, I mean, they're gonna do it regardless, between 9 and 5. We're allowing them, businesses to do between 9 and 5.
But they still have to have a permit.
So when they knock on my door and say, I wanna clean your house, and I say, no, go away, or show me your permit, and they show me a permit, then what?
Then tell them that I'm not interested, open the door. I would never open up a door, you know, most people have the screen door, the storm door, whatever the case is. In fact, a lot of the neighbors, they have ones that lock, and they lock them all the time, and they unlock them when they want to go out. To open up a door to a total stranger that's trying, and you know they're going to be trying to sell you something, to me, it would be crazy in the first place.
I'm just saying they'll break in between 9 and 5 anyways.
And you can't stop them.
You can't.
But if you put it hard enough for them to be able to get a permit here, because they have to pull a permit,
Right.
and the permit would have our stamping on it, so you're going to know that it came from us, then it's a little different. They've done some homework on these people.
So, I mean, I agree with that, but I'm saying for the non-for-profits.
Do you just have a problem with the Saturday? Does that mean?
For not-for-profit soliciting on Saturdays and Sundays, I have an issue with, because I think.
And let me clarify that too. If it's not for profit, let me back up, because Saturdays and Sundays, yes, the exemption, if you're a charitable organization, those sorts of things, yes, you're exempt. Now you can do it on Saturdays and Sundays. You don't have to get a permit. Obviously, you're exempt. You can do it Saturdays and Sundays. That's where the problem lies, though, is because now you've created a division that says you've got commercial speech Monday through Friday, that's it. And you've got charitable, non-commercial speech that can do it on the weekends as well. Whereas the exemption was typically you don't have to get a permit. Everybody was able to go during the same hours. The exemption was you don't need a permit. So now we broadened that because we've limited the hours. We've reduced it down to 9 to 5, Monday through Friday. Then I want to make sure that I've explained that. Okay.
When you say didn't need a permit prior to this, you're talking about nonprofit?
Correct.
You still have to get a permit. They still have to come and get a permit.
They have to notify you. No, they do not need to get a permit.
I thought
I think the previous did show.
The exemption here says if they, I mean, this has been changed since I know the committee had some changes to it. But if you've got non-commercial solicitations by a charitable organization, they are exempt. They just need to notify the village manager at least 2 days before they begin doing their solicitation.
But the whole idea is I can call up and say I'm exempt. You have to come in here, you have to prove
you have to show that, correct. That's why you have to contact the village manager. But they would, by being exempt though, they would be able to solicit on a Saturday.
Lieutenant Fish, how do you feel about this? Not to put you on the
It's a very confusing situation.
It is, and it shouldn't be.
See, Mayor, I think we're all in agreement on commercial solicitation. I don't think anybody has an issue with that. That needs to be tightened up. We need to make sure that potential solicitors that have an F rating with the Better Business Bureau aren't given permits and be able to come to the door and say, hey, the village said I could sell you these magazines and maybe steal your money. So I think we're all in favor of tightening up the commercial. Yeah, so I think the only sticking point here is that we don't over-regulate it, which in most cases from an enforcement side, who's calling on the 10-year-old girl that's selling candy door to door? So I totally understand that. It is, and I still, I guess, maybe don't have the clear answer. Are we tightening this to such a degree now where if I'm going door to door on a Saturday with a survey to my neighborhood, am I going to be breaking the ordinance? Am I going to be violating the ordinance?
No.
Okay. Okay.
But that's the concern, is now you've created a division. It's one thing, as trustee indicated, you're fine with that gate by saying, look, we're going to prevent certain individuals, certain groups, if they don't qualify, they're not getting a permit, they cannot solicit.
Okay.
But now what you've done is said, okay, now commercial solicitation is only during the weekdays, 9 to 5.
So
non-commercial is, you can do it anytime you want.
So our fix is adding Saturday and Sunday, and then the issue's done.
I think that's the easiest fix.
adding Saturday and Sunday to for commercial?
Yeah, exactly, saying solicitation can occur between 9 to 5 any day.
But now what happens when you put a non-solicitation notice on your door? And Trustee Mitchell comes to you, or the chamber, or whatever it is.
It's a violation. You should, somebody could call and complain and say, look, you violated the no solicitation.
Follow-up question. Same scenario, going door to door with a survey, public official. Do I have to come fill out, get a permit and pay the $50?
No, but you need to know, but you should notify the village manager 2 days before you begin.
So the only people that need to get permits are commercial?
Correct. Or non-commercial that it isn't for a charitable organization.
Okay.
But if it's a charitable, it's a non-for-profit company, they don't have to come in for a permit, they have to notify that they are going to be what?
Exactly.
But if it's a commercial,
They have to get a permit.
they have to get a permit. So you're non-for-profit. I don't think that we would have an issue with that because we don't want to hurt the residents. We want to help them. But at the same token, I want to protect them, so does Brian, so does Christine, so does everyone up here. We want to make sure that all the residents are all taken care of. So then, Joe, if that's the case, we got to sit down with Eric again. We can't pass this right now because then we've already made it, unless you want to just amend it to the changes that we mentioned.
I think the big one is simply the hours, saying the hours of solicitation, 9 to 5 any day, as opposed to eliminating the weekends. Because what you've done is you've created that division there by saying your speech is okay anytime, but yours is only good 9 to 5 Mondays through Fridays, and you don't want to do that. That's where you get into trouble.
Take the weekends out and put it in 7 days a week, but still keep it at 9 to 5.
I think one of the things that we talked about is how do we then enforce Section 8, where the penalty. So on Saturday, the guy that's not supposed to be knocking on the doors knocks on the doors. Who's going to enforce that $100 penalty?
Well, now with the change, they can knock on the doors.
Except for
if they have a permit.
If they have a permit and they're doing it between 9 and 5 o'clock.
And there's not a no solicitation sign. So the main thing is if you really don't want people knocking on your doors, get your sticker.
Yeah, but if it's 6 o'clock at night and somebody's soliciting,
Right.
you call the police. You can call the police, you can ask for their permit, get their name, that information, or whatever you want to do.
Right, I got it. 100%.
And we can revoke that permit.
Yeah, then you report it to the village and go through that process.
So with that, is everyone in favor of letting this go through with the change of adding Saturday and Sunday back on, but keeping the rest of it intact?
I don't think we really have a choice.
Can we shorten the hours on Saturdays and Sundays, or is that pointless?
Yes. Yeah, you can do that.
Why couldn't we do 10 to 3? I don't know, I'm just throwing numbers out there.
Yeah, that's fine. I like that idea.
How about if we make it from 12 to 12:01?
How about the fact that it's Saturday, not night? How about like noon? Yeah. 11.
All right. You want to lower the, that's fine.
But how do we, and make the hours on the weekends more reasonable. I don't think anybody wants anybody at 9 o'clock on Saturday.
11 to 4 or 11 to 3?
Yeah.
You don't want to see me on Saturday.
11 to 3.
Let's just say 11 to 3.
11 to 3? 11 to 3, Carla?
I'm good with that.
11 to 3?
I'm good with 11 to 3.
Okay. 11 to 3.
Okay, so you want to just take the roll then?
Sure. Trustee Cabrio?
With
As amended to 11 to 3 on Saturday and Sunday. Trustee Cabrio?
Aye.
Trustee Rogers? Aye. Trustee Suisse? Aye. Trustee Varian?
Aye.
Trustee Netsky Trey?
Aye.
Motion carries. H4. Is there a motion to approve the attached professional services contract from HR Green, Inc. for the preparation of engineering plans and bid documents for the 159th Street water main between Cedar Road and Cougar Road for the not-to-exceed amount of $88,821.65. It is further understood that the mayor is directed to sign said contract contingent upon review and approval by the village attorney. So, again, just so we can fill you in what they're voting on before they vote. Previous board wanted to throw the sewer and water down 159th Street. At the time, we had nothing but farmland there and nobody that was looking to build anything. So the village board at that time didn't feel comfortable with taking money that basically the residents would be responsible for if anything happened. But now it's going to be changed, so they won't be. But we wanted property sold, so no matter what, there is an end user. So what it is right now is one of the properties on 159th Street has a gas station that they have a contract with to sell some property and a hotel that wants to come in. So we have end users. We are figuring out the tap-on fees that would go along with it. And we have bids right now that 6-7 years ago were anywhere from 7.5 million to 11.5 million, so pretty much that range. And the range that we have right, and that was to put the sewer in and give money to the forest preserve because we had to go through their property to put it in. Now we have the sewer, the water, and the forest preserve in there. And honestly, we're a touch over 5 million.
I don't recall the numbers. It's probably in that vicinity.
But it's definitely much lower than it was years ago, and now we're also putting the water in with it. We have someone that is trying to sell a bunch of the property up in 159th Street. With the two businesses going in, it will make it so much easier and attractive to companies coming in here. So that's what this is all about right now, and what this is doing is just giving HR Green the okay to survey it, get the engineering ready for what was going to put the water line in for us. So with that, I need a motion.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Is there any discussion?
I have a lot of questions.
Okay.
Well, first of all, on the map, what are those dots signify?
Those are the hydrants.
Are those all fire
hydrants.
Existing and new?
Well, no, that, everything, I think anything on the exhibit is, except for the sections probably, you know, near 151st and Cedar Road, at the corner of 159th and Cedar Road, and then there's some sections near 151st and Gouger Road at that corner. Those are all existing, but everything else shown on this plan is pretty much proposed. This is not everything that would be constructed under this. This was just an exhibit prepared by McDonough and Associates several years ago of potential ultimate system. What we're looking at right now is just the construction of a water main along 159th Street, basically from Cedar Road to Gouger Road.
Okay. Can this, okay, we're just talking, right now, this motion is just for 159th Street, Cedar to Gouger.
Correct.
Now, can this line still work if it's only extended between those 2 points and it's never extended in the future?
Yes.
Okay, so this is not just first shoe, second shoe, something else.
No.
So this can be an operating line just up and down 159th Street.
Correct.
If things don't happen quickly in the future, this can work alone by itself.
Correct.
Okay, now, it says here, a possible connection, 159th and Cedar. Where is IAW, where is that connection coming from?
Their water main is on the south side of 159th Street. At Cedar Road, it turns and goes south along, I believe it's the east side of Cedar Road. Actually, they are extending their water main at this point. They're crossing 159th Street and crossing Cedar Road, so it'll actually end up at the northwest corner of that intersection.
So in the future, that's where the...
Potentially that could be,
be
would be the
northwest
location
corner.
where we would be looking to connect.
Okay, and isn't part of where this line is going how is, maybe I'm misunderstanding this, but isn't that part of Lockport's facility planning area? I mean, how is that going to affect things? How do we work with that?
Well, the facilities planning area is probably more towards the sanitary sewer, and we have been working with Lockport. This area would be served by a sanitary sewer that would connect to their treatment plant, their Bonnie Brae treatment plant.
But isn't that where the water line is going? Isn't part of that the same on 159th?
Well,
Where the water is?
yeah, that facilities planning area basically is bound on the north side of 151st Street, south side of 159th Street. East side would be east side would be just east of the Glenview Walk Estate subdivision, and then the west side is Gauger Road. So that's kind of the boundaries of that facilities planning area. But it's more of a sanitary sewer boundary, and that's, again, that is all tributary to the Bonnie Brae treatment plant.
Okay. I think that's, for right now, that's all I have at the moment, I think.
Well, if there's any other questions, I mean, they can be directed to Mike and, or HR Green, because you can call them anytime too, and I'll answer whatever questions you do have. Is there anyone else?
I guess I just have a general question, and again, I'll go back to the insurance only because I work with contracts at work. Do we not require all vendors / companies that we work with to name us as additional insured on their policies when we do work with them? I notice on this one it doesn't specify it, but okay.
Yeah, typically we do. Now, what they did on their contract, and obviously the village attorney would be reviewing this, what they actually did was the wording that they used in the back is actually the same one that was reviewed for the Woodbine drainage study. So
I know they're qualified and they
yeah.
do everything.
So the same comments that our attorneys had commented to them previously should be included in this as well.
Okay, I may just not have seen it.
Oh, and just one other, do we have a map of this FPA area? Do we have a, where this?
I can check, yeah.
Okay.
We should have something somewhere. And I'd be happy to get you copies of that.
Thank you.
Are there any other questions? Madam Clerk, could you please call the roll?
Trustee Nardsky-Trojki?
Aye.
Trustee Barrion?
Aye.
Trustee Suisse?
Aye.
Trustee Rogers?
Aye.
Trustee Caprio?
Aye.
Motion carries. Number 5, approval of village's September legal bills. Is there a motion to approve the September 2015 Mahoney Silverman and Cross LLC legal bills in the amount of $13,028.25?
So I'll make a motion. Oops, sorry.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Is there any discussion? Madam Clerk, could you please call the roll?
Trustee Caprio?
Aye.
Trustee Rogers?
Aye.
Trustee Suisse?
Aye.
Trustee Barrion?
Aye.
Trustee Nardsky-Trojki?
Aye.
Motion carries. Number 6, approval of payment to Azavar Audit Solutions. Looking for a motion to authorize the village's 4th payment to Azavar Audit Solutions in the amount of $7,703.45 as specified in the approved agreement with Azavar Audit Solutions. And just so everyone knows what this is, this company goes after sales tax that hasn't been paid for by the businesses in this village. When they find out some of the sales tax that they didn't pay, they get it paid and they get a portion of it. So it's money that we would have lost if they didn't look. We found it, we paid them to do it. So is there a motion?
I so move.
Trustee Squeeze, is there a second?
Second.
Is there any discussion?
I have one question. What are we doing, like when, say, new businesses, instead of going through all this? Because I noticed, like on this chart, there's some fairly recent businesses. What are we doing? What is the village doing to make sure? Are we being proactive to advise the new businesses of where their taxes go, or so we don't have to go through these audit solutions?
The village clerk gets the monthly notices from the state regarding discontinued businesses or new businesses. So we look at that. Also, as part of the business registration, get a review of sales tax collectors within the village also. The ones that they found were from the Home Depot parcel that annexed in later, and they missed a couple of the parcels through the annexation,
Okay,
and that's what happened.
okay, thank you.
Any other questions? Madam Clerk, could you please call the roll?
Trustee Cabrio?
Aye.
Trustee Rogers?
Aye.
Trustee Suisse?
Aye.
Trustee Barry?
Aye.
Trustee Knight-Petrocchi?
Motion carries. Number 7, approval of the 2016 IML RMA contribution. Looking for a motion to approve the 2016 IML RMA contribution invoice renewal for workers' compensation and liability insurance in the amount of $37,521.
I so move.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Is there discussion?
No, just so the residents know, this is for workman's comp in any type of, all the insurance coverage.
Yes,
For the-
property and casualty, and as Heather mentioned earlier, they had cyber coverage, which is typically a rider on a policy, but I consider this to be rich in benefits, and it's really, we make a good match with them. The way they do their underwriting and the way we exist makes for a real good economic deal.
Is it typical that a municipality uses the Illinois Municipal League risk management services?
Well, they have probably 150 Illinois municipalities as customers. So a lot of traditional insurances uses a lot of different things to underwrite, like revenues or things like that, which for us is misleading because we only have 12 employees. Most of it's subcontracted, so it would be double like the price that we currently pay. So we've been with them a while, and they're terrific. I think they're excellent.
And they paid our last loss.
Yeah, and we don't get hit with ads or deletes throughout the year. We don't have to do a workers' comp audit at the end of the year. It's all
encompassing.
It's very friendly to their Illinois municipal customers.
Okay. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Trustee Suisse?
Aye.
Trustee Rogers?
Aye.
Trustee Knight-Petrocchi?
Aye.
Trustee Barry?
Aye.
Trustee Cabrio?
Aye.
Motion carries. Last one on the agenda is approval for a supplemental bond order. I need a motion to authorize the village president and the village treasurer to sign a supplemental bond order with respect to the issuance of the $15,640,000 general obligation bond series 2012A. I will have the treasurer discuss it after we get the motion in the second. So do I have a motion?
So moved.
Trustee Berrien, is there a second?
I'll second.
Trustee Suisse. Okay, is there any discussion? But what we'll do is we'll let Mr. Sawyer explain it to us.
Well, back in 2012, when the initial bond ordinance was passed, it's cited in there that home rule sales tax would be designated exclusively for retirement of debt. That was a long time ago. We really didn't know what home rule sales tax was going to amount to. It has grown quite a bit since then. So this particular bond order would redefine the amount that will be designated for bond retirement. And in short, what that would be is the amount of surplus. Currently the surplus is going to grow in increments of about $600,000 per year. It would be locked down in the debt service fund, and the general fund couldn't use it for anything. What this bond order does is it says we're going to have needs, whether they're the state's budget crisis or staffing or any other thing that comes up in the future. So what this bond order does is it says that after the December 1st payment is made, it will allow for any amount in excess of $200,000 to be swept into the general fund. So in real life numbers, we're going to make our bond and interest payment on December 1st. It's about $1.75 million. After that payment is made, the debt service fund will have approximately $238,000 in it. So this bond order would say $38,000 could be swept to the general fund. In addition to the $200,000 in the bank, the debt service fund still has a receivable for 3 months' worth of home rule sales tax from Illinois Department of Revenue, which totals around $700,000. So you could say that the reserve will, instead of it be growing in increments of $600,000 per year, it will be redefined every year as $200,000 in cash and 3 months' worth of home rule sales tax. So an additional $700,000. And then, once the sweep occurs, if it was to get passed, what it would do is it would say, home rule sales tax, we're going to only allow $167,000 per month of home rule sales tax to go into the bond fund. And that number was determined because 12 months at $167,000 is approximately the bond and interest payments. So we won't be having this big issue. The sweep will be a one-time sweep, and then every December, theoretically, it'll still be $200,000 in cash and 3 months' worth of accounts receivable. So the bond council was Kane Car Limited, and they drafted the bond ordinance with Odelson as co-counsel. The bond supplemental order that you have was drafted by Vince Kane Car, and it's a housekeeping measure to redefine how much home rule sales tax is going to stay in the debt service fund.
How much of a difference in the investment from your sweep into this new? Because you said this would help in the investment. How much of a difference? Are we talking 1% more, 2%?
Oh, you mean the investment income?
Right.
Well, quite honestly, we're lucky to get anywhere from 0.3% to 0.7% annually on it. So it's very marginal. Really, to me, it's a matter of operations. The general fund no longer has home rule sales tax in it, and we've had a lot of budget issues with escalating public safety costs, numerous things. The state's holding back per capita revenues and gaming tax and motor fuel tax. This is also a proactive measure against what the state probably will do, which is to keep some of the village's money. I think it's going to be needed, whether you do it tonight or when the state makes changes. It's going to probably be needed. It's the least evasive way of moving forward and continuing to offer the services we do.
I have, going back to the first call, the first call is 2019.
That's correct.
And at that time, even though if we keeping that money there, because that was to pay off this bond, they said there would not be, it was said here, would not be sufficient to retire the bonds early. Now, say the following year, 2020, is this, when it comes for the first call, is it an all or nothing thing?
Yes.
So if you don't...
No, then you could do it again in the following year. Honestly, I'm not sure if that would make economic sense to retire the bonds early, because they're at about 1.8%.
Okay.
And rates are really low right now, and I don't know where they're going to be in 2019, but I'm not sure at this point whether it would make sense to do it. Well, you'd have to see at that point in time, but the rates that we have on the bonds were 40, 50-year all-time low record rates.
At that time.
John, is there any reason why, if we didn't do it now, we would be penalized or couldn't do it? Is there any issue with the December date on this?
No.
Okay.
Well, the December date's good is because the debt is kind of backloaded to December every year. So we make an interest payment in June, and it's around $250,000. And then we make an interest and principal payment in December, which is 1.75 million, about 2 million in total. So the sweep measure makes more sense in December because that's when all the funds run out and you get a full, then you get another 12 months to build up. So you could extrapolate it and do it later, but ideally that would be the measure and would be extrapolated forward from there.
Mayor, I think the board needs to get a little bit more information so they can judge this wisely, and Trustee Costa definitely has to be here because there's only 2 people on this board that have some information for the background of it, that it was sold to the residents as being for the debt reduction, the home rule sales tax. So we have to weigh this wisely. So I don't think we need to vote on this today, and I would like to table that.
Yeah, you don't have to vote this tonight, and what it was set aside for wasn't, the sales tax is set aside for 3 things. 159th Street, the water pipe, and flooding issues. Those are the 3 that it was set aside for.
The bond was, but the sale, yeah, I'm talking about the home rule sales tax.
Well, the home rule sales tax is what is paying for the bond.
that, right.
What John is talking about is you're still going to keep that amount in there. We're not going to take out more than what the bond can pay. And the bond right now, what is it, 2023 or 2022?
2023 is the last,
23.
12/1 of 23. This is a question of security, a reserve. Are you comfortable with a reserve of 200 in the bank and 700 due from the state, a $900,000 reserve? That's really what it boils down to. If you don't do anything, it's just going to grow, and you'll have a tremendous amount of money in that at the end of the bond term or in 2020.
No, I'm not saying that.
Hopefully, you'll have a tremendous amount of money, but the general fund will have financing issues down the line because we're locked in. We don't have property taxes. We don't have telecom. We are lean on the revenue side.
So basically what it is just the money that is left over, you're just moving it to another place. If it stays in the same, it stays in the same.
Well, I think we would need to tighten the wording on that then when it comes back up for discussion. If it's a line item like the bond, okay, the bond money, the bond is on a separate line item. I would assume eventually this, if this ever gets passed, would be a separate line item.
I like that idea too, because if with what John is saying right now is if we run out of money because the government takes too much of our sales tax, because that is what we survive on, that we have money that would be available to help us out of the situation. Right now, we're not in that problem, but we could be, and it's not like we want to spend the money on anything. This is just pretty much emergency money, which we could still leave in a bond fund, and if we run into that situation, now it's a little bit different, because I'm sure they don't want a property tax put on them, a municipal tax, but we just have to know that we have an avenue if we run into problems. So,
but we're still in that predicament unless we make this change to where the funds can be utilized.
Well, you can always go back in and you can change the bond to afford more than what it is right now. But if you did it the opposite way, you've already got it separated. It's not going to be spent unless we absolutely have to. But then we would notify the village this is what it is. I mean, at that point, everyone's going to be in the exact same boat as us. And there's already people that are a lot worse off than what we are right now. But it just, all we want to do is we want to make sure that if something comes up to where the state does take a percentage of our sales tax, we still have money to pay for all this. So if you want to table it until Trustee Costa comes back, that's absolutely fine too. This way you get some time to ask the questions, and there's no rush on this right now.
Okay.
I do think it's prudent to have a plan B It's a good plan, B.
It's a luxury, truthfully, you know, because most communities don't have this, and, you know, they haven't paid MFT taxes in about 5 months. The state's offering low interest financing. There's a lot of problems out there, and they're not really going away.
They'll give you the MFT money, but you have to pay interest on it when it's yours. But I did hear today that they're close to a deal.
Yeah.
For at least the MFT. So Madigan kind of agreed to it. So that's who runs this place. Okay, so we need a motion.
I motion to table this.
I'll second.
Okay, roll call.
Trustee Caprio?
Aye.
Trustee Rogers?
Aye.
Trustee Sweet? Trustee Barry?
Aye.
Trustee Vasquez-Troiki?
Aye.
Okay, and motion carries. We're going to table it until probably the next meeting. We'll figure that out. All right, last, old business, potential establishment of a 3 cent per gallon Village of Homer Glen vehicle fuel tax to be designated for park and recreation fund activities. With that being said, Bob, you made some real good points there. The reason that we want to do this right now is when we did have the golf course, and the golf course was open, Mr. Ludwig did have an extra year left on his contract to be able to use it. The previous board, for Trustee Sweet, Trustee Costa, and myself, pushed very hard to keep him in there. Because we said a lot of times it's going to cost a lot of money to cut this grass. And when the previous mayor had brought out something saying it was going to be $25,000 a year to cut it, to trim it, to fertilize it, to water, everyone knew that was not realistic. Well, now we're at a point where we tried getting him in there for 2015 and 2016, and there were so many roadblocks for him that we put in there from the previous administration that he couldn't overcome it. So he decided to stop. Well, when he stopped, we took on the responsibility of taking care of that park. And I agree with what Mrs. Orban had said. We have something that's very nice. We need to do something with it. We don't want to pull money from the general fund to be paying for this. Parks are very important. We do need them for our kids. It brings more people into our village that want to live here because we've got good schools and we have good parks. The park at Woodbine, I mean, it's a blank canvas right now. We've got the walking path that goes through it. There have been a lot of suggestions for things that we can do as we afford them, because again, it goes back to what we said before. We don't want to spend what we don't have, but we also need to get some things done on it so it is a usable, you know, for us to pay $150,000 or $200,000 a year to cut the grass and then let nobody use it, to me, that's a giant waste. So, I mean, some of the discussions for some of the simple things for there, put a band shelter in the back. Have some situations for the weekends or during the week to where people can go to the park and actually enjoy something like that. Do the movie in the park. You can do that at the band shelter too. We also thought about putting up a picnic situation, picnic tables, and right now with the festival over at Homer Township's property, we want to bring it over to the park property. So we're going to need some money to get the land ready for the carnival, get the land ready for the band, or for the beer tent, and the same thing for the vendors that come in there. Right now with the vendors that come in there, I believe it's at 8 right now, but at one point it was 10 groups. We thought about putting in a picnic, pouring a slab, putting a roof on it, and being the same length as what we use right now for what we do for the festival. Every year, all the vendors have to rent a tent. Runs about $300, and that goes to the tent company. This way they can do it right on the cement that we're putting in there. Costs us nothing for the tents. So every year, you're building up money to pay back for this. Then when the festival is over, it's used by the residents they want to have a party, it's all under a roof. so it would benefit them. There's some simple things that we can do. You can do the frisbee hockey or frisbee golf. They have another one that's out in Ohio right now for soccer. They just use a very big ball and they just kick it from sand trap to sand trap. And then from there, as we get money, start doing other things. But the whole point is we need money. There is really no park fund, and we have to supply it. The whole thing with the gasoline, which made the most sense for us, Orland right now is a 5-cent per gallon charge on gas. Goes to Cook County. If they come out here for the cigarettes, they come out here for the alcohol, they come out here because our sales tax is also lower. Cigarettes are much lower. We don't have any Chicago taxes on them. Alcohol, same thing. We don't have any Cook County taxes on that. Gasoline, they are passing through. They're coming off of $3.55 and they're also coming out here for gas. And as Dan said earlier, you don't want to buy the gas here. That's your prerogative. But for us to be able to put 3 pennies on every gallon, it would generate close to $1 million every year. And as the traffic develops more, you could be pulling $1.5 million, $2.5 million. We don't have a municipal tax, and I will never ask you for one unless, God forbid, this state really puts us in a position to where we don't have an option.
I appreciate that, Mayor.
Well, you know what? Everyone's got to remember that everyone that's up on this board, and myself, we're in the same boat you are. We don't want to tax anyone that doesn't need it. There's enough tax out there right now. We don't spend money foolishly. We look at everything that we do before we do it to see if it's something that we can afford. I mean, you got to figure, when we bought the golf course, we paid cash for it. We have no debt. With what we're doing right now with the build-out, we're paying cash for it. We will not have debt. It's going to fall way under what the previous amount was. And it's moving very quickly right now. But as for when you asked about the sports groups earlier, the sports groups right now, they don't play in Homer Glen. They practice on Parker, which is property to the school. It's 33C's property. What they do is they use all the township. They use the complex, which is township. They use Morris Park, which is the complex. Which is a township. So right now we don't have Homer athletics being used in Homer Glen. All the baseball fields, that's the township's property. So the township, do they get paid? I think they do, but I don't know. Do they collect money? Yes, they do. They collect money from every family to support what they're doing, and rightfully so. They're all not-for-profit. They do a great job with the kids. If we are looking into sports, we're going to look into it a little bit differently, and that's going to be down the line to where we'll fill everyone in, but there's nothing wrong with sports. It is good for the community. You can set it up to where people come from other communities to use it, and they pay you. And they pay you very well. They come in here for a few days, and they eat at our restaurants, they sit at our bars, they buy gas, cigarettes, booze. Tell you what, anyone that goes on a venture for the weekend for a tournament, they buy liquor. They buy food. They're in the restaurants, and they're bringing teams in there like there's no tomorrow. We have people that have contacted us that want them. We need to get business in here. This is the easiest way to get this problem fixed that we have in the village. The water settled. We're working on that. We're trying to figure out ways that we can help out there. The 3% or the 3-cent gas tax, it's specific to parks, recreation, and land acquisition. If we need more land, we have a source to be able to buy it without going to you and asking you for money. So, and like I said, we are working on the water. I don't know where that's going right now. It's in the courts. All we're trying to do is bring business into the community. And the only thing you have to do, you have to have something that attracts people to come here. If you attract people to come here, the business will follow. Business pays a property tax, so the schools now have a lot more funding coming to them. So they don't have to hit us up. We've sat down with the schools to see if there's a way that they can work it out. To if we bring the business in here, there is no more jumps in the school tax. Let the businesses pay it. All these businesses come in, there's no impact on the schools, and all the property tax Most of it goes to the schools. As for the sales tax, it comes to us. So now again, we have money to be able to do what you're looking for. But I did receive a few emails, and I really mean a few, I think there were 4 of them, that were very negative on the 3-cent gas tax. Thank you. What you gotta remember is, if you go into Orland has a property tax, they still have the gas tax there. They tax a lot more than what we are doing. All we're trying to do right now is get funding to get some of this stuff going. The schools want to join in with us. They're very happy to go into some of the stuff with us for some of these parks. We need to finally work together as a village and as a board, and the schools and the library. If we can all work together on this and get some of these things going without a large impact on you guys. I mean, really, if you stop and think about it, like Dan said, with money for gasoline, I think he said 45 to 57, or even if it was $65 for a year, and what it can do for the village here. That helps your property value go up. If we bring in more business because of some of the things that we do have, it stops your taxes from going up. It definitely gives us a very large advantage in sales tax. There's only a few places in the whole state of Illinois that does not have a tax on a municipality. And I'm very happy we're one of them, and we're solvent. And with what we're talking about with the bond, you know, a lot of people still don't understand is, Illinois is broke. They owe, I heard an estimate that they owe ComEd over $1.2 billion in electric funds. I don't know if that's true or not, but they owe everybody. If you fix a police car right now, because I'm in that situation, you wait 6 months to 9 months before they pay you. Lottery right now, if you win a lottery, they don't pay you right now. They're waiting to get the money. So they need to figure out how not to spend so much, because now they're saying that they could take a percentage of our sales tax. What percentage? We don't know yet. At one point it was 50%. God, if it's 50%, they're gonna bankrupt a lot of cities and villages. So all we're trying to do is be proactive. We want to be able to get things done that we're looking for, and we need to be able to do it without really beating you up. If we threw a municipal tax in there, well, I'd infuriate everyone, including my wife, because right now our taxes are ridiculous here. So we need to work together. Let's get funding from other sources other than you guys. I mean, the way it is worked out right now, it might not be right on the money, but 30% of the money would come from the village. But it also benefits the village. 70% is coming from outside people. To me, it's a win-win-win. Even the people that come in and pay the extra 3 cents, we're still cheaper than anything on Cook County. We are the first village that they hit when it comes to coming into Will County. We're lucky enough to have a speedway at 159th and Wilcook Road. We got Kenwood Liquors right next door to it, and I don't care when you go by Kenwood, they have nothing but cars in their parking lot. Speedway, 9 times out of 10, you have to wait to get to a pump. They have, I want to say, 18 pumps there. It's just something that we have. We've been blessed with it to where we have this opportunity. A lot of people that don't have the opportunity we have. Like I said, if someone wants to, they don't want to spend the $60 if it added up to $60 a year for the gasoline, then go somewhere else. Because really, by the time you go somewhere else, you've already spent the 3 cents that you're going to be saving driving to the next place. We're not trying to back anyone in a corner. We're trying to help this village. We want this village to be able to grow with our control, and we want it to prosper. We want to, you know, for everyone that is here, our property taxes are high, but the village doesn't get anything out of it. But we're still trying to build up this village to where it benefits you guys. Other than that, I mean, if the board can jump in and whatever they want to say on this.
Can I add something to that?
Sure.
You know, your answers are all correct. That's the way it should be. But in the meantime, we are going to lose some business. Now, you say that we've got business development. All right. Well, until the state of Illinois gets 159th Street done, who wants to locate on that street? By the grace of God, Connie and I got out of there.
Well, I do understand exactly what you're saying, but we already have two businesses that are gonna start building why 159th Street is being completed, because they wanna be able to open as soon as the street opens. We have a lot of other people that are looking to get in, and I agree with you. Would I wanna put a few $1,000,000 out of my pocket and then hope that this thing gets done and it's not sitting there for 4 or 5 months and I'm making a note on it? It would scare me too.
Well, there's an old saying, I'm from the government, I'm here to help. Where have you heard that one before?
I have.
Hello, Obama. Anyway.
There's a difference. There's not one politician that's up here. Everyone that's sitting up here, every one of us are public servants.
No, I understand.
We're here to serve you, and I can say we are here to help you. Because by helping you, we're also helping ourselves.
Well, I had questions that I wanted to ask. I asked them. Nobody has the answer.
What questions didn't I answer for you?
How many participants?
How many what?
Sure. We're talking about increasing the fuel tax for what? Designated for park and recreation.
And land acquisition.
Okay, that doesn't say that.
Well,
That doesn't say that.
It is part.
That's okay. Anyway, part of that money is going to the youth sport program.
No, wait.
No. Oh, no, wait a minute. You're saying no. Yes or no?
Finish with what you're saying, then I'll answer the question.
Well,
I
no.
don't wanna interrupt.
That's one of the questions. Do the sports teams pay anything to the village for the use of the facility?
And I did answer that one too.
You did?
Yes, I did.
And
They don't pay us anything because they don't use anything that we have. That's not our property. That's the township's property.
wait a minute. We bought the golf course.
The golf course, did I say we're putting sports on the golf course?
Well, why not?
Well, do you live on a golf course?
Oh. No,
Okay.
but I.
We don't have to do it right there, and if we did, we could work around it. You know, the one thing that you gotta remember, when all these people bought out here, they bought with the knowledge and they paid a premium for the property that they're on.
Yeah.
So, we don't wanna make it any worse than what it is. As for sports for Homer Glen's kids, we wanna do something, but we don't have to do it on a golf course. We can do it in other places to where it's set up to where we don't have glaring lights in all their houses. We don't have kids screaming till 10, 10:30 at night, almost every day of the week.
I'm with you.
But I mean, what you have to remember right now, the village has nothing for the kids right now. Do we want to do something? Yes. But again, we have to do it to where we know where the money's coming from, so we're not spending your money doing it. As for the kids that are here right now, it's all township. And if we did do something here, they still would have to pay to work, or to do what they want to do on the property.
Well, one last thing. I'm not the only one that has this sentiment. If you read the newspaper and sit up, you will see I'm not alone.
No, I agree. I told you, there's 3 or 4. In fact, there's an article, there's a speak out in Southtown today. But what they really should do is they should call us and ask us a question rather than taking it for granted this is what's going to happen. And even though I am a rookie mayor, I know what I'm doing. You know what? Almost everyone up here has been a business person, and we understand what it is to make the payroll, to make sure that we're not spending more than we have, and that's exactly what we're going to be doing. Everyone's just got to give us a little bit of time, because there's not one person up here that has a magic wand and can wave it and get all this stuff done.
I didn't want to go there, but if it wasn't for real, all right, how the hell do you live on an $18,000 a year Social Security payment?
You're right. You're right.
I think one of the things that you said is one of my concerns is that, you know, we've got such little feedback You know, I think we got maybe 4 or 5 emails. We had 5 people here tonight. And my concern is that people aren't made aware of it. They don't know it exists because I heard there was an article in Home Horizon. I, like hundreds of, I think 1,000 people in town, don't get the Homer Horizon. We try to work with them. We try to tell them, hey, there's residents in Homer Glen that aren't getting this. There's nothing they're going to do about it. So I just want to make sure that, you know, we have time to get some more feedback from people. We educate them thoroughly on this so they understand it, and then we bring it back in December.
Well, that's why we're discussing it again right now, so it has an opportunity. And one thing Homer Horizon definitely has to correct, it will not make $900 million a year.
I saw that.
If it did, boy, we would have done this a long, long time ago.
I was all for that.
And I think that everybody would be going, go for the nickel.
And I think it's also key to remember, I think there's a big misconception out there from the emails that I also read. Well, this is not a park with just swings, it's a gathering place for every age group. So from a toddler to a senior. There's many activities that this can fund, and I think we need to get the word out more, but I'm full support of it.
Well, what I figure I'm going to do is I'm going to get a hold of the editor tomorrow of the Homer Horizon, see what we can do there. I'm going to give Southtown a call because that's where the speak out was, to at least get the information out there so people know what we are doing. You know, we're not trying to hide anything from you. It's been in my blog for a month and a half, 2 months, and I'm not afraid to tell you. I would rather come to you and say, this is what I'd like to do. If you don't like what I'm doing, then tell me. And if you think of a better way to do it, I have no problem listening to what you're saying and seeing if we can do it. But we have to do something, or we're going to stay just exactly the way we are, and everyone's going to be complaining about their taxes, and everyone's going to be complaining about the water. So we're trying to be proactive and do something. Bring some business in here. Houses, we don't have an option. They're going to come. But we still have the control of what they can build and what it's going to be built on. You know, I see that there's another subdivision going on in Lockport right now that, you know, God bless them, they've got another big subdivision going in there. You know, this sign says a lot right here. That's what a lot of people moved out here for. I would think most of us moved out here because of this sign and what we stand for. But, you know, nowhere on it does it say that we have to pay ridiculous taxes and water, and we are. So let us work and see if we can get some of this stuff corrected. So, you know, again, anyone has any question, my phone number is online. I got the phone on me all the time, and I answer every one of them. If I don't answer them, it's I'm on a phone, but I make sure I call right back and find out what it is. I'll meet with anyone anytime they want. I know the trustees would do the exact same thing. You have a question, that's what we're here for. We're here to answer your questions. If we don't know exactly what the answer is, we direct you in the right direction to be able to talk to someone who can fill you in. But we are honestly trying to do what is absolutely best for you. You guys, you got to give us a little bit of leeway and give us, I'm not trying to sneak anything past you. This board's not trying to sneak anything past you. You can see the questions that they ask. They're asking the questions because they are worried about you. So,
Mayor, I had a question. One of the big concerns I've heard from people about this tax is they don't know where that money is going. And we talk about parks and stuff. Has any plans been started to be developed from designers? Because I think there's a misconception, as Carla pointed out, it's like a playground, as opposed to something that, like a design, that they can actually see how cool it would look and how emblematic it could become of Homer Glen, that we can take pride in, like, that's what we're building. We're building something.
And also, I think people think that this money is spearheaded just for Woodbine.
and it's not.
This
is every park. You got to remember, every park in here has to be cut. Grass has to be cut. It has to be fertilized. If you're trimming the trees, you're doing a lot to it. It's not just Woodbine. This goes for parks. It's plural. It's not just one. It's for recreation for the kids to be able to, you know, put some swing sets out there. Get some ball fields out there. Get everything that everyone's looking for, but we also have to have a direction to go to. We want to be a destination, a big destination for people. So they come here for what we can offer them. we're not looking at just for people that are going to live here. We're looking for a lot of people who come from out of state. You know, I was telling someone before, my kid plays hockey, and we have tournaments all year. Farthest we've gone east is Cincinnati. Farthest we've gone west is, I don't know if it was Colorado or Arizona. Because I don't know how many miles will be difference. But they have, you know, we have a ice rink right here in Orland called Arctic. They can't keep up with ice time. And ice time is expensive. Hockey's the most expensive sport they have out there. My kid had to pick it. But it's things that you can do that we can bring people in here. They're going to spend money here. An average weekend, if you go on a tournament, counting the hotel, probably anywhere between $500 to $1,000 in a weekend. They come and spend money. So all we're trying to do is let them come in. Let them buy their cigarettes. Do I like them buying cigarettes? No. You can't stop them. Let them buy the alcohol here. Let them pay for the 3 cents for the gas. It will definitely benefit us.
Mayor, can I make one more comment?
Yeah.
Just real quick, Dan, just so you know, at the last meeting, I don't know if you were here at the last board meeting, but near the end of the meeting, we approved moving ahead with trying to get park plan bids.
So we are in the process because we do want to be able to tell you what we'd like to build.
I think people would get excited about it and wouldn't feel so bad about spending that money. And then people need to remember that it's not just for the kids, it's not just for the seniors. It becomes a destination place, your property values can go up.
And again, I'm going to reiterate my concern is that we need to make sure that people are educated on it. And they're not, first we have to get them informed. I don't know how we're going to do that more than what we're doing, but to give it a little bit more time so hopefully people can talk to their neighbors, but then they hopefully come back to us to get the facts.
Happy birthday, Mr. Coy. Yeah, it's his birthday.
I'm missing my party.
We'll see you later.
Good luck.
And,
Thank you.
You know, my thing is when I'm reviewing the draft for the ordinance, it has some dates in there, so I was just concerned because, you know, I just want to make sure that we're giving them more time and we're not worried about trying, obviously the dates are things that we could change. I'd like to see whatever, you know, whatever happens that we give it some time and don't really bring this back to us until December so that we can get more than 5 emails.
Trustee Rogers, that was just a fact sheet. That was not an ordinance. I would need to work with the village attorney to come up with an ordinance.
Yeah, there's nothing.
It's just a fact sheet.
Yeah.
So.
Yes.
The 3 cent gallon on the gas, is it a sales tax? Is it an excise tax? Does the money come directly to the village, or does it go through the state and then you don't get it?
It won't go through the state.
It's an excise tax that's paid directly to the village.
Okay. Yeah, we don't want them taking that money.
Yeah, we don't want to hold it up.
Are there any other questions? So like I said, my phone number is what?
I have a suggestion, George. I know, Mayor, I know that a long time ago you used to have everything in the Home Horizon. I would suggest trying to get it back in there with your website so that more people could be more informed as what is happening and look it up on the computer instead of missing the meetings like. But myself, I am against the tax right now. I talked to Jim, who's really, right, Judy? And I am sort of against it until there is some type of stipulation of what is actually going to go onto the property. There is money for the property. I think, how much money was there for the property already? How much money was it that we already have for the property, for the park?
Well, for the park right now, I know we don't have too much in there.
Well, we really didn't put a lot of money into park development in this budget. This budget didn't have a lot in it.
How much do you have now?
Park improvements, I'd be giving you off the cuff. Can I get back to you tomorrow?
No, just give it to me off the cuff now.
I thought park improvements were 200,000?
I was gonna say, off the cuff, I was gonna say 180, I
Yeah, I
thought.
think they're right.
And $180,000, it's a lot of money, but it's nothing.
Well,
A swing
I'm not
set
saying
costs
that.
$300.
I'm saying you've got it now. There is, under those stipulations of what you're paying for getting that grass cut, I would well inform you to go out to buy your machinery, hire somebody to cut the lawn, because in fact, you're going to be saving $100,000, how much did we say? $150,000 a year?
Mary Ann, we're already ahead of you. We're already working on that to get that done.
Well, I'm very happy to hear that, because in fact, it's very essential if you're paying that much money. I mean, I'll cut the lawn, I'll buy my own machinery and cut the lawn for, how much did you say, $180,000?
That's also fertilizing, trimming, edging.
That's okay.
It's a lot of work. But we are ahead of you. We are working on the process.
Work for me, I'll tell you what.
All right, we need a motion to adjourn.
I so move.
I'll second.
All right, well, to go into executive session. And it's going to be